Good morning. We are going to be reading a new chapter of Black Beauty today, chapter 31. If you have your book, you can follow along with me. So we found out a little bit more about Black Beauty's new owner, Mr. Barry, in the last chapter. How would you describe him? He's a pretty nice man, doesn't know much about horses though. So sadly, he was ignorant to somebody doing something that was really hurting Black Beauty. What was that? Now, there was a thief, a little boy who was taking oats because the groom was allowing him to steal these oats from Black Beauty. And how was it affecting Black Beauty? Black Beauty was getting tired and not feeling good because his diet was not what it should be. He wasn't getting the right nutrition. So that person ended up going to jail for 2 months because he allowed that little boy to come in and steal oats. So let's find out about the replacement groom. So Mr. Barry is still Black Beauty's owner, but he had to get a new groom because that one went to jail. So let's see chapter 31 called A Humbug. At this point, I'm going to present my screen. Now, some of you might know a little about the story of oh, sorry, just a moment. So some of you might be familiar with A Christmas Carol. Whether you have seen a movie version of it before or you've read the story with your family. So Christmas Carol has a famous line, bah humbug. And humbug used to be a more common word than it is today, but it basically means having to do with deceit. And that was one of our words for spelling recently, right? So it means you're not completely telling the truth about something. There's something that's a lie. So that is the name of our chapter. Not a good sign considering we just had somebody who is a thief and now there's someone who is a liar, basically. Okay, let's begin reading. Now, my master was not immediately suited, but in a few days, my new groom came. He was a tall, good-looking fellow enough, but if ever there was a humbug in the shape of a groom, Alfred Smirk was that man. So he is a liar. Uh-oh. He was very civil to me. Just a moment. Let me look up the specific definition if there's anything else that would, basically false talk and behavior. So he was very civil to me, meaning he treated Black Beauty well enough. He wasn't mean and never used me ill. He didn't hurt Black Beauty or hit him. In fact, he did a great deal of stroking and patting when his master was there to see it. Is that integrity? Remember that integrity is doing the right thing even if other people are not looking. I was looking at my honor code. It's actually not in our honor code, but it is on character cards. In the past, we've had an integrity portion of it, which means to do the right thing even when nobody is looking. He is not doing the right thing when nobody is looking. So he always brushed my mane and tail with water and my hooves with oil before he brought me to the door to make me look smart. Not smart like he's smart in the brain, but look sharp and look ready to be ridden. So he brushes the mane and tail, but he does not clean my feet or look to my shoes or grooming me thoroughly. He thought no more of that than if I had been a cow. Horses need to be treated differently than cows. So he is brushing the hair, tail as well, but nothing to do with the hooves. Basically, this would be like wearing a fancy outfit, but eating junk food all the time. And so the inside of your body is in terrible health, even if you try to look fancy on the outside. This is only done in order to impress people. Alfred doesn't truly know what's good for the horse. He left my bit rusty around his mouth that could cause infections. My saddle was damp, and my crupper was stiff. Now, this man is a groom, horse groom. He should know better than to do any of these things, which are bad for a horse's health. Alfred Smart considered himself very handsome. So he spent a good deal of time with his hair, his whiskers, and his necktie before a little looking glass and mirror. He's looking in the mirror, straightening up his hair and his mustache, his whiskers, looking just so. In the harness room, when his master was speaking to him, it was always, "Oh, yes, sir," touching his hat at every word, trying to be very polite when Mr. Barry was there. And everyone thought he was a very nice young man, and that Mr. Barry was fortunate to meet with him. They thought, Alfred, he's a great guy, a swell guy. Now, I should say he was the laziest, most conceited, meaning he thought he was so great, fellow I ever came near. Of course, it was a great thing not to be ill-used, Black Beauty saying, I know it's nice that he was good enough to me, he treated me well, but then a horse wants more than that. I had a loose box and might have been very comfortable if he had not been too indolent to clean it out. The Black Beauty goes to the bathroom in there, and it was never cleaned. That's what a groom should be doing. He never took all the straw away, and the smell from what lay underneath was very bad. While the strong vapors that rose made my eyes smart and inflame, he's right next to where he goes to the bathroom, and it's staying there and making his eyes irritated. And I did not feel the same appetite for my food. No wonder. Can you imagine eating in the bathroom? It's basically what he's making Black Beauty do. Gross. One day, his master came in and said, Alfred, the stable smells rather strong. Should not you give that stall a good scrub and throw down plenty of water? Well, sir, he said, touching his cap, I'll do so if you please, sir, but it is rather dangerous, sir, throwing down water in a horse's box. They are very apt to take cold, sir. I should not like to do him an injury, but I'll do it if you please, sir. Does he really think it's going to hurt Black Beauty to throw down some water? Nope, he's lazy. That's why he doesn't want to throw down that water. It's part of his job, but he doesn't want to do it. Well, said his master, who, remember, Mr. Barry doesn't know much about horses. He says, I should not like him to take cold, but I don't like the smell of this stable. Do you think the drains are all right? Well, sir, now that you mention it, I think the drain does sometimes send back a smell. He is a liar. That is not what is causing this smell. There may be something wrong, sir, he says. Then send for the bricklayer and have it seen to, said his master. Yes, sir, I will. Now the bricklayer came and pulled up a great many bricks. There is nothing wrong with those bricks. Now he's making Mr. Barry waste money on this. He found nothing amiss, so he put down some lime and charged the master 5 shillings, and the smell in my box was just as bad as ever. Of course it was. He still has gone to the bathroom in this stall, and it's never been cleaned. But that was not all. Standing as I did on a quantity of moist straw, he's going to the bathroom on it, so it's getting wet. My feet grew unhealthy and tender. That's not good for his hooves to be on wet straw. And the master used to say, I don't know what is the matter with this horse. He goes very fumble-footed, meaning he kind of trips up at times because his hooves are not proper. I'm sometimes afraid he will stumble. Yes, sir, said Alfred. I've noticed the same myself when I've exercised him. Now, the fact was, he hardly ever did exercise me. And when the master was busy, I often stood for days together without stretching my legs at all. And yet, being fed just as high as if I were at hard work. So he's eating a lot, but not getting any exercise. Now, you might be thinking, he's going to get kind of fat. And it's possible that he would, but mainly, he's not healthy. It is not healthy for him to eat just as much and not get any exercise. This often disordered my health and made me sometimes heavy and dull, but more often restless and feverish. He needs to exercise. He wants to. He never even gave me a meal of green food, no vegetables, or a bran mash, which would have cooled me, for he was altogether as ignorant as he was conceited. And then, instead of exercise or change of food, I had to take horse balls and draughts, which, beside the nuisance of having them pour down my throats like a medicine, used to make me feel ill and uncomfortable. One day, my feet were so tender that, trotting over some fresh stones with my master on my back, I made 2 such serious stumbles that, as he came down, Lansdowne into the city, he stopped at the farrier's and asked him to see what was the matter with me. The man took up my feet one by one and examined them. Then, standing up and dusting his hands against one against the other, he said, "Your horse has got the thrush, and badly too. It's an infection. His feet are very tender. It is fortunate that he has not been down," meaning fallen. "I wonder your groom has not seen to it before. This is the sort of thing we find in foul stables, where the litter is never properly cleaned out." That's exactly what happened, right? "If you will send him here tomorrow, I will attend to the hoof and will direct your man how to apply the liniment which I will give him." So somebody's finally seeing why Black Beauty is stumbling and not in good shape. The next day, I had my feet thoroughly cleansed and stuffed with towel soaked in some strong lotion. And an unpleasant business it was. The farrier, is the one who works on hooves and horseshoes, ordered all the litter to be taken out of my box day by day, and the floor kept very clean. Then I was to have bran mashes, a little green food, and not so much corn till my feet were well again. With this treatment, I soon regained my spirits. But Mr. Barry was so much disgusted at being twice deceived. Deceived means tricked, lied to. 2 people now. Just a minute. Excuse me. Twice deceived by his grooms that he determined to give up keeping a horse. So Mr. Barry is thinking, I'm done with this. I have all these people who can't take care of a horse properly. And to hire just when he wanted one. I, Black Beauty, was therefore kept till my feet were quite sound, and then was sold again. Black Beauty, poor Black Beauty, sold to another owner because of this humbug, who is a liar. He is not treating Black Beauty well, and he was really just focused on how he could get away with not doing any work, right? So that is the end of part 2 of this book. Part 3, we're going to enter a new stage of Black Beauty's life with a new owner, and we'll see what happens next. That is all for our reading today. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.